At exactly 5:12 local time, 4 Russian Tupolev Tu-142 maritime patrol aircraft crossed the Arctic Circle heading southwest toward Greenland at 400 knots. 243 miles southeast of Nuuk, the USS Porter tracked them on AN/SPY-1D radar from 180 miles out. No radio contact, no flight plan filed. Just 4 massive turboprop bombers painting a direct course toward the world's largest island, while Washington's intentions toward that same island dominated global headlines. The Russian crews believed they were sending a message about Arctic sovereignty. They had no idea the message was being received by a destroyer whose combat systems had already written the response in targeting solutions. The USS Porter sat in the Denmark Strait like she belonged there. DDG-78, Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, 8,300 tons built around the Aegis combat system. Her AN/SPY-1D phased array radar featured 4 octagonal faces, 360-degree coverage, no blind spots. The system could track over 200 targets simultaneously. 4 Russian bombers approaching registered as medium priority, noteworthy but manageable. Inside the Combat Information Center, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chen watched the Russian formation on tactical displays. 4 yellow icons, bearing 042, range 180 miles, altitude 22,000 feet, speed 400 knots. TAO to bridge, Russian Bears inbound, 4 contacts, course suggests territorial probe near Greenland. The timing wasn't coincidental. 3 weeks earlier, American political leadership had publicly discussed acquiring Greenland from Denmark. The Danish government responded with outrage. Greenland insisted it wasn't for sale. Russia's Northern Fleet had decided this was an excellent time to remind everyone that Moscow also had Arctic interests. The Tu-142 wasn't exactly modern equipment. First flight 1968. 4 Kuznetsov NK-12MP turboprop engines. Maximum speed 575 miles per hour. Combat radius exceeding 4,000 miles. The aircraft could carry Kh-35 anti-ship missiles, 8 missiles per aircraft, 32 potential threats if all 4 Bears were loaded for surface attack. Advanced when disco was popular and the Soviet economy still functioned. Greenland sits at the western edge of the GI-UK gap, that maritime choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. Every Russian submarine leaving the Kola Peninsula for the Atlantic must transit this corridor. Control of Greenland means control of surveillance infrastructure monitoring Russian naval movements. Radar stations tracking ballistic missile launches. Forward bases hunting submarines. Washington's interest isn't about real estate. It's about preventing China from establishing Arctic infrastructure and keeping Russia's Northern Fleet under constant observation. Either expand American military presence or watch Beijing invest billions in mining operations that come with dual-use ports. The Arctic is warming. The competition is heating up faster. Denmark lacks military capacity to defend Greenland adequately. 5.9 million people cannot secure an island larger than Alaska against adversaries spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Arctic militarization. If Greenland pursued independence, Copenhagen might withdraw both financial support and military protection, creating a security vacuum that either Washington or Beijing would fill. Russia's miscalculation centers on believing American political controversy signals weakness. Moscow concluded that domestic criticism meant reduced focus on Arctic operations. What they failed to understand was the difference between political debate and military readiness. The Porter's presence wasn't improvised, it was scheduled 3 months prior. The Bears believed they were testing American resolve during political uncertainty. They were flying into a surveillance network that had tracked them since Wheels Up from Kola. But here's the thing about desperate men and dying machines. Strategic miscalculation looks a lot like bravery until reality delivers the lesson. 0523, the Russian formation descended. All 4 aircraft dropping from 22,000 feet to 12,000 feet. Course unchanged. Range 140 miles. Time to territorial waters approximately 12 minutes. The SPY-1D radar painted them continuously. 4 turboprop bombers flying straight and level basically broadcast their position like hide-and-seek players yelling their location through a megaphone. Chen's expression didn't change. TAO to weapons. Multiple hostile contacts descending. Probable territorial violation attempt. Spin up defensive systems. The Mk-41 vertical launch system housed 90 cells, 54 loaded with RIM-66 SM-2 Block 3 missiles, each capable of Mach 3+ and intercepting targets at 90 nautical miles. But the real deterrent was the Aegis combat system's ability to track and engage threats faster than human thought. The Russians were being watched by a network that had calculated 17 different ways to kill them. The Russians continued descending, 10,000 feet, 6,000 feet, range 120 miles. Classic gray zone provocation, aggressive enough to make a point, supposedly restrained enough to avoid confrontation. Except international law and American rules of engagement were 2 different conversations. 0531, the formation split. 2 aircraft climbed back to altitude, establishing racetrack patterns at safe distance. The other 2 Bears descended hard, dropping through 4,000 feet, speed increasing to 500 knots, range 90 miles. Their radar systems activated, electromagnetic emissions painting the coastline, probing for response. The Porter detected the activation instantly. The AN/SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite identified signals, Russian fire control frequencies, emissions associated with targeting solutions, threat classification upgraded to high. This wasn't reconnaissance anymore. This was weapons posture and territorial approach. Chen's voice remained flat. TAO to weapons. Multiple hostile contacts approaching territorial waters in attack configuration. Request engagement authority. 400 miles away in Norfolk, the duty admiral reviewed the tactical picture. 4 Russian bombers, 2 threatening territorial violation. American leadership had spent 3 weeks discussing Greenland's strategic importance. Russian aircraft were about to learn whether rhetoric had teeth. The decision took 11 seconds. Weapons authorization granted. Demonstrate full capability. Make them understand the cost of continuing. 0534, the response began, but not with missiles, with something far more effective. TAO to EW, active illumination, full power, show them exactly what's looking at them. The AN/SPG-62 fire control radars activated at maximum output. 3 separate illuminators locked on to the lead Russian aircraft. The electromagnetic energy bathing those bears was the same energy that would guide SM-2 missiles to impact. The Russian radar warning receivers didn't just beep, they screamed. Multiple fire control radars, weapon quality locks, terminal guidance illumination. The kind of tones that tell pilots someone has pulled the trigger and the missile is already in flight. Except no missiles were flying yet. This was a message written in radar pulses. We see you. We have you locked. We can kill you right now. We're choosing not to. Make the smart decision.
The Russian pilot's radar warning receiver panel lit up like a Christmas tree. Multiple threat indicators, fire control radars, terminal guidance mode, missile lock. Every tone screaming the same message. You are targeted. You are about to die. His hands moved to chaff dispensers. His wingman was already braking right, standard evasion, but the radar warning tones didn't change. No missile Doppler, no incoming track, just steady illumination. Weapon quality lock, the kind you get in the 3 seconds before impact. Except the impact never came. They were being painted by a targeting system that could kill them, but the killing shot wasn't flying. Not yet. 0535, the situation escalated. TAO to EW, active jamming, show them what degraded systems feel like. The AN/SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite activated in offensive mode. Precisely tuned electromagnetic energy flooded the Russian aircraft's radar frequencies. Their Berkut search radars filled with noise, ghost targets multiplying, lock tones warbling, navigation systems showing erratic positions, every sensor corrupted. The Russians couldn't see the coastline anymore, couldn't confirm their position, couldn't maintain weapons locks if they tried. Their 1968 vintage avionics were being systematically blinded, like bringing a flashlight to a laser fight. Then Chen made the call that would end the confrontation without firing a shot. TAO to Air Ops, request fighter intercept, show them they're surrounded. 145 nautical miles northeast, 2 A-18E Super Hornets launched from Keflavik Air Base in Iceland had been holding station at 30,000 feet, waiting. The moment the order came through, both aircraft rolled into descents, afterburners lit, accelerating through Mach 1.2. The Super Hornets covered 145 miles in just under 7 minutes. Their AN/APG-79 AESA radars locked the Russian aircraft at 80 miles out. The Russian radar warning receivers added new tones: airborne threats, fighter radars, air-to-air missile seekers. The Bears were being bracketed from multiple angles: surface threat, airborne threat, electronic warfare, a complete kill box with no escape routes. The lead Russian pilot made the calculation that would save 28 lives that morning. This wasn't reconnaissance. This was a kill box. They were being given one chance to make the smart choice. He transmitted on guard frequency, 121.5 megahertz. Porter, Russian flight turning away. No hostile intent. Returning to international airspace. Chen's response was ice cold. Russian flight. Maintain current heading until north of 70 degrees. Any deviation will be interpreted as hostile action. Be advised, you are tracked by multiple systems. Acknowledge. Maintaining heading north. No hostile action. 0538. All 4 Russian aircraft turned northwest. Hard bank turns. Maximum power. Racing for international airspace and the comfort of distance. The 2 low-altitude Bears climbed frantically to rejoin their companions. Formation integrity abandoned. Every crew focused on getting away from the destroyer that had demonstrated it could kill them from 90 miles out. The Super Hornets maintained pursuit for 40 miles, close enough to keep the Russians nervous, far enough to avoid provocation, finally breaking off at the 70-degree latitude line. The message delivered, the lesson learned. The Porter Spy 1D radar tracked them for another 90 minutes, watching them flee, recording every maneuver, cataloging every radar emission. The Russians thought they were escaping. They were actually providing a complete electronic intelligence harvest. 0552, silence returned to the Denmark Strait. The Porter never deviated course, not a single degree. The destroyer continued patrol as if forcing 4 hostile aircraft to retreat, with barely worth logging. That studied indifference transmitted more than any weapons launch could achieve. You don't scare us. You don't impress us. We saw you coming from 180 miles out. We let you leave because dead crews can't report how badly they were outmatched. The cost analysis was almost insulting. Russia expended approximately 4 hours of flight time for 4 Tu-142 aircraft. Fuel cost roughly $85,000. Crew time and maintenance another $40,000. Total operational expense around $125,000. Return on investment? Complete humiliation. Proof that 1960s technology has no business probing defenses designed to intercept hypersonic missiles. The United States Navy expended exactly 0 missiles, no weapons fired, no lives taken, but the intelligence collected was worth millions. Every Russian radar emission cataloged, every evasive maneuver analyzed, every communication frequency logged.
Plus, the strategic message transmitted louder than any press release. Greenland's approaches are defended. Testing will be met with overwhelming capability. You can retreat or you can burn. Choose wisely. Within 8 hours, Russian state media released carefully edited footage of routine Arctic patrols. No mention of radar locks, no mention of electronic warfare, no mention of the panicked radio call on guard frequency. Propaganda for audiences who would never hear the pilot debriefings, describing how American systems had painted them like targets at a firing range. The Porter's mission logs told the complete story. Russian aircraft approached territorial waters in attack configuration. Fire control radars activated. Electronic warfare employed. Fighter intercept demonstrated. Hostile aircraft retreated. Total American expenditure, some electricity and jet fuel. Outcome, adversary deterred. The fundamental truth of modern deterrence is elegant. You don't need to shoot someone to prove you can shoot them. You just need to demonstrate you have them targeted, tracked, and locked, that you've calculated the shot, that you're giving them one chance to make the intelligent decision. The Russians got their chance. They took it. 28 aircrew flew home knowing they'd been outmatched by a defense network that saw them before they left Russian airspace. This is expensive education you can get for free by reading about modern naval combat systems. Save $125,000 in operational costs, plus the psychological damage of knowing you were completely outclassed. Wikipedia would have explained that flying 1960s turboprops against Aegis-equipped destroyers is like playing chess with a supercomputer while announcing your moves 3 turns in advance. Could have Googled it from the Kola Peninsula without the whole international humiliation situation. The engagement lasted 26 minutes, from initial weapons posture to Russian retreat. 26 minutes that clarified American intentions about Greenland more effectively than diplomatic statements ever could. The Arctic is warming, the competition is accelerating, and territorial approaches will be defended by destroyers carrying enough capability to destroy you, but enough restraint to let you leave once. The math changes permanently after that. Like showing up to rob a bank and discovering the security guard is actually a SWAT team who watched you plan the whole thing on camera, knows exactly what's in your bag, and is politely suggesting you might want to reconsider your life choices. Technically, you could still try. Extremely inadvisable. Definitely not ending with your retirement party. If this breakdown changed how you think about deterrence, modern naval warfare, and Arctic geopolitics, hit that subscribe button and share this video. Your support brings more untold stories of military operations to light.